Hello, comic book fans. It's Thursday, and I'm just back from the comic shop. I got 9 comics this week, just about $30 worth, which is a few dollars more than I'm aiming for. But hey, I had $9 worth, $29 worth this week, so nothing I can do about it. And also because Savage Dragon is out only 2 weeks after the last Savage Dragon. Now, what did I get last week? Phonogram #1. I enjoyed that. What's funny about that is I usually read my comics twice. So I read Phonogram #1 probably Friday. Then I read it again yesterday or the day before. And I swear it was like a different comic the second time around. And I think I enjoyed it more the second time around than the first. Sometimes when I read a comic first time around, I'm so, wondering what's going to happen that I don't pay attention to it like I would if I already kind of know what's going to happen. So sometimes it's good to read them twice just to see what changes in your own mind when reading it. And the other one I got was The Beauty #1, which I'm kind of iffy about, only because it was pretty good, but it was basically a police procedural. And I like police procedurals generally, but I don't know if I'm too into that one. I might pick up the second issue if I see it, or I might not. But I'm with Phonogram for all 6 issues of the mini. I liked that one. And this is, like I said, Savage Dragon. There's Malcolm Dragon. He's graduating from high school. It continues his adventures now that his father is out of the book. Superhero. Has high school kid problems. Fights monsters. I guess we're continuing that. He had this motif last issue where he had a full figure shot on the left and panels on the right. It's like he's continuing that a little for this story. But Savage Dragon is pretty much a known quantity. I enjoy it every month, so I'm sure I'll enjoy it this month too. And here we have Dark Horse Presents, 48 pages, $5. I'm enjoying, I always enjoy Dark Horse Presents, an anthology story. Lots of different art styles, lots of different stories. It's like one having to do with fairy tale folk. What's the cover story? Semi-automatic magic returns. Oh, that was a decent story about this woman who's, I guess, some sort of magic troubleshooter detective thing, who nearly died and ended the world. There's some nice artwork. It's interesting. What's the name of this one? Black Past, Chapter 3. Like I said, I'm into anthologies. I would buy that new One Island, but I just don't have the cash right now, so I'll have to get that some other time. But I'm sticking with Dark Horse Presents. And here is Wolf #2. Probably another reason my price went up this week, because I put this one on my pull list. I liked the first issue, and first issue, the fact that it was oversized really helped it, because I didn't like the first 20 pages, but I liked the rest of it, so this was good enough to get on my pull list right away. He's some sort of supernatural detective in LA. They've got a whole large cast of characters in it. I'm not even quite sure what the plot is, besides he's detecting something. The only thing that annoyed me about the first issue a little bit, pardon me, was the racist evil guys. I don't know, I guess they're the protagonists. I need a drink of water. They're the protagonists, and sometimes I just find, to make guys racist is just such a shorthand to let you know they're evil. So it's kind of like it's kind of become a cliche. But then the rest of the comic, they expanded the cast so vastly that didn't bother me as much as it did in the beginning when I was reading it, because I'm just tired of the kind of evil, establish their evil a little more differently than making them racist. I mean, that's just such a shorthand these days that I want a little more longhand. But anyway, it ended up not bothering me as much, like I said, because they introduced a ton more characters. But we'll see how Wolf #2 is. And now we've got Trees number 12. I liked the last issue of Warren Ellis written Injection, by the way. That story's starting to come together a little more. But Trees came together a long time ago. And we're on our second story arc now, where it's kind of just about life now that these giant alien pillars are on Earth. It's not about the giant alien pillars. It's about humanity's kind of dealing with them. And they're just like, they're kind of just like the monoliths in 2001 in their unknowability so far. Except they've been much more of a mess. The pillars in 2001, they weren't evil. These trees, even if they're not actively evil, they're inactively evil because they're affecting the Earth in such a way as to make it worse for humanity. But anyway, I'm enjoying Trees. I'm keeping with it. And here we go with Stray Bullets, Sunshine and Roses, number 7. I like every issue of this. I'm going to like this issue. Oh, look, Amy Racecar is back. I think she's one of the characters, fantasy character. I haven't seen her in a while. Who she escapes into when she wants to leave this terrible, terrible world of stray bullets where there's lots of criminals and people doing bad things. I think she was... I haven't seen Amy Racecar in years and years. I think she was... like I said, one of the little girl's play characters. We'll have to see. I'm sure I'll be reminded in this issue since I saw her there. But anyway, pick up any issue of Stray Bullets you want. They're all good. And here we go with Revival, issue number 32. You know what? This comic is like The Big Lebowski. The dude abides. And so does Revival. It just keeps going. We've got 32 issues of it so far. They're still dealing with this small town in Wisconsin where people came back to life all on this one day and can't die. And they don't know why. And they don't know how. And it's a worldwide event. And all sorts of crazy things keep happening. Including, this is the lead character in the story. She's one of the local police. And this is another character in the story who's her little sister, who is a reviver, meaning that her little sister died. I think tried to kill herself on that day, but then came back. And there was just a big chase scene, and now she's telling her little sister to stop trying to kill this guy. Last I knew, but I don't know much more what to say about Revival except the dude abides, and so does Revival. And here we are with Rat Queens, number 11. Haven't seen an issue of this in a while either. Another reason why my price went up to $30 this week. New issue of Rat Queens, first one in a while. New issue on my pull list, Wolf. Extra size Dark Horse Presents, that's a $5 book. Rat Queens, I picked up the first trade of it and enjoyed it. It's just a fun book about fantasy characters, about these 4 rat queens who are a gang in some fantasy town who they go on adventures. Basically, there were a few gangs who went on adventures, then disaster happened and a bunch of the gangs died. But now they continue their adventures, and they're just one's an elf magic user, one's a brainy chick, one's a fighter. You know the routine. When you get a team together, you need a stretchy guy, an invisible woman, a guy who sets himself on fire, and a strong guy. That's basically it with this team too. Seems to be the same with every superhero team. Just give them a variety of powers and let them have an adventure. And that's what Rat Queens does. And here we have Manifest Destiny number 16. I like that cover. All sorts of scary monster skulls and human skulls. Lewis and Clark and the Journey of Discovery continue their expedition across Thomas Jefferson's post-Louisiana Purchase America. They ran into this talking bird monster. And there's monsters in America. And Lewis and Clark are discovering the monsters. That's the basic storyline here, and that's what they continue with. Nothing. It's extremely well drawn. Extremely. I like the color is nice. They do a lot of sort of rustic textures in the color. It's a book that's it's just a pretty book, but it's also nice adventure story. I dig this one. Manifest Destiny. And the final comic of the week is Birthright issue number 10. There's our lead character, and we got a symbolic cover here instead of a literal one like we usually have. Still not sure I like that. I haven't liked many of Birthright's covers, and this one's at least a little more striking, but that's just because it's mostly white. But Birthright is this character right here who left our Earth as a child and came back a year later as a full-grown man, and he's got this monster inside him that his old family who was missing him don't know about, and he's trying to do the right thing, but he's got a monster inside him, and we flash back to his life growing up on this old fantasy world, and then we flash forward to him. There's his little brother fighting good guys and bad guys, and doing bad guys' bidding, trying not to let his big brother, who's now his little brother, know and that he's a bad guy, and trying not to be a bad guy, and we'll see if he pulls off trying not to be a bad guy in issue 10. But anyway, Birthright, fun book. And finally, we'll give you a look at my background art. This is a photo I just did last week. It's one of my Bryant Park expedition photos where I take lots of pictures and paste them together. These are just people walking in the street. I love this look on this woman's face, and ran it through one of my filters, made her all orange and graphic looking, and I think she was putting on suntan lotion, by the way. That's why she's got that odd gesture. Tall heels. What does it say? All the best action is in my mind. That's one of my, like I said, one of my recent photos. Made up of many photos that I put together. And this over here is one of my prints. Blam. You can see this one's I like to do faces. I like to do masks. So this is one of my faces and masks. That just, you know, simple, stark color. Simple, very black and white sort of graphic image. Sound effect, I guess, above. But anyway, there's Blam. And all the best action is in my mind. You guys have a good week out there.